Well, good afternoon to all of you, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends. It is an honor and a pleasure to welcome you all for today's conference on an issue which somehow seems to have slipped out of our hands, namely how to create the conditions for a peaceful two-state solution. In a recent article by Roger Cohen in the New York Times, he writes, "There's agreement on very little in the fractious Holy Land. But on one issue, there is near unanimity these days. A two-state solution of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is more distant than ever, so unimaginable that it appears little more than an illusion sustained by lazy thinking, interest in the status quo, or plain exhaustion." This observation reflects a sad state of affairs when it comes to solving the conflict which continues for decades. But he is not alone with his pessimistic assessment. For quite a few years now, more and more skepticism is voiced about the prospects for a solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The parameters of the Oslo process are questioned, and the public and political support for a two-state solution is fading out. Lack of progress of the diplomatic process is one factor contributing to the widespread pessimism about a solution, as are changing political circumstances in Israel, the region, and in Europe and the US. We can observe that public support in Israel for a two-state solution is decreasing. According to a number of recent polls, only about 50% of the Israeli public still support a two-state solution. Voters of Shas, Bahit Yehudi, United Torah, Likud, and Israel Beitenu overwhelmingly oppose the concept. Among men, there is less support than among women for a two-state solution, and the opposition to a two-state solution is especially strong among voters under 30 years of age, the young generation, which is especially worrying. Alarm over the possible demise of the two-state solution has also been expressed by political leaders in the US and Europe on various occasions. A possible alternative, the one-state solution, meets with even more opposition and is regarded to be a non-starter. Given this gloomy outlook, you will certainly ask yourself, what had the organizers in mind when deciding about this project, the publication, and this conference? What we want to achieve through our and through your efforts is to turn the tides. We want to create a space for creative imagination and creative forward-looking thinking, and not sit back and watch in despair how the hopes for a peaceful solution are fading. The objective of this project is to change perspectives and look at the conflict anew. We asked all contributors to define the main elements which would need to be in place in order to move forward with the diplomatic process with a view towards a peaceful solution to the old conflict. The authors are convinced that a peaceful solution is still possible and that there is no reason to fall into despair. They are laying out their perspectives on the challenges ahead, covering the following policy areas and describing the enabling factors for each and every policy area leading towards a two-state solution. What are the causes of the failures of the diplomatic process? How can the security needs of Israelis and Palestinians be met? Which economic conditions and policies need to be put in place to improve the welfare and the living standards of the Palestinian people? The contributors to the publication also...
Sorry, can you please take off your
Sorry.
microphone? It disturbs the loudspeaker.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Oops, sorry. The contributors to the publication also focus on the actors who are decisive for progress in the different policy areas. So what role can the Arab Palestinian citizens of Israel play to promote a peaceful solution? How can civil society become an even more proactive player to support a two-state solution? What is the role of the religious communities on both sides to prepare the ground for a peaceful cooperation? Last but not least, in which way can the international community support the process and open up avenues for the reconciliation between Israelis and Palestinians? The publication does not aim to provide a concrete prescription for getting the peace process back on track. It rather lays out a comprehensive strategic approach for those who still believe in a peaceful solution, as well as for those who need to be still convinced of it. And I hope at the end of today, you will share our optimism and work with us and everyone else on creating the necessary and sufficient conditions to come to a peaceful solution to the conflict. Coming to the end now, I would very much like to thank the team of the S. Daniel Abraham Center for Strategic Dialogue under the leadership of Dr. Yair Hirschfeld for the excellent work on this project and the fruitful and productive dialogue with us. A very special thanks also goes to my colleague Judith Stellmach, who contributed to the project and the publication with all her heart and soul. My gratitude also goes to Ellie Friedman, who cannot be here today, Esti Ofer and Gilad Segal, who were her counterparts at the center, and they built a great team. And a team without which the project and the publication would not have been possible. So let's all look forward to a very productive and fruitful day. Thank you.